Hey Alexa, I'm recording the captain's log. Hey, there we go. Melissa, you still can't see it. I still don't have a camera.
I just have to look later, I guess.
Yeah. I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna invest in a new camera and get a nice one.
Nice.
Not just like another one of the webcams that I have here. So I'm looking at a Sony. It's the Sony A7 II, which is a mirrorless camera, and it's about like $1,000 ish.
What?
Yeah, about $1,000.
Is this a webcam?
It's a DSLR.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Like a real nice one.
Okay, that's fair.
But I have the opportunity to buy one used. My roommate does a lot of photography, and she knows someone that's actually selling one. And I was like, ooh, how, can I get in contact with them? I've been messaging them back and forth. They are getting it cleaned right now because they, at one point, dropped it in some water, and the screen no longer works. That's
oh dear,
the only thing that's like wrong with it.
Yeah,
which is fine for me because I'm not gonna really use the screen if it's just gonna be sitting up here above my computers. But they're getting it cleaned regardless, in hopes to fix that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like their asking price is a little too steep for it being used and potentially damaged. If that makes sense. I think they're asking for $700 for the body, and then they're throwing in a 50mm lens for $150. It would be $850, which is still,
yeah.
I would save $150. However, I can go on Amazon and buy a brand new one bundled with a camera bag and a tripod and a memory card and maybe one or two smaller things that I don't care about as much. They're just $150 more, and I wouldn't really have to worry about the screen not working or stuff like that. So I don't know what to do. What do you think?
Why is this my choice?
I'm just asking your advice. I don't know if I'll actually go with it, because you could give some terrible advice here.
Right.
Come back next week, Melissa. You ruined my life.
I would say I don't know if you're saving that much money for the amount of peace of mind that you are spending. Also.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
it might be
I'm
worth
thinking.
it to, like, buy one new that feels more reliable to you. Like, when I buy any electronic, I always pay for, like, the extra warranty protection package, Geek Squad, whatever the thing is, because I
don't do that.
I'm just spending money on my own peace of mind to know that I am covered if a disaster happens.
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm wondering because if I ask him to, like, hey, I want the body and the lens, would you be up for dropping it to, like, if you'd be up for taking off $100 off of that total? I might see if he'd be okay with that, in which case I'd be paying $750 total, which is a much better deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still the like, in the back of my mind of, like, it might be clean, it might work for a while, but because it's been kind of refurbished, maybe it won't last that long. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's always a good thing to weigh your options when you're spending that much money.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Kyle, did I tell you I'm sorry if I just interrupted you trying to seg you into the opening of the show. Did I tell you that when I bought this new TV for my living room, I bought it from Best Buy, and on their app, they've got this not VR, this AR, this augmented reality thing, where it'll use your camera and you'll point it at the part of your house where you want the TV, and it'll shift through different models and show you like what that TV looks like in your space. So you can make sure you're not buying one that's too big or too small for the part of the room you want to fit it in. So I tried that. And this little virtual TV they're showing you does have a little virtual video playing on it. It's not like it's not turned off in this fantasy. And the video playing
the TV is very, very turned on in this fantasy, if you know what I mean.
I'll say, because the video it keeps playing is the trailer for Infinity War. Just over and over again. And this was a couple months ago. So yeah, 2 years after the film was in theaters. It's the trailer for Infinity War.
I've seen stuff like that in the Amazon app. Like they have the thing, like, see it in your room. And it just like opens up your camera, and then they must have a like version of the pictures that they've like cut out, so it's all transparent except for, you know, that stuff or who knows what. But I've never actually done it. The closest thing that I've used my camera, my phone's camera for that is the like measurement thing. It has like an augmented like measurement thing where you can like, if you keep it, yes, you can't hear me, but you have to get like on the level of whatever your measuring is, or you have to keep it, you have to move with the thing. You can't just stand in one like specific spot. So if I'm measuring a wall, if I stand 5 feet back, I have to get on one end of that wall, and then I hit a button to be like, that's where you need to start. And then I walk to the opposite end of the wall, and I hit the like end spot, and it will measure it out for you. But then it puts this like augmented reality line in your space, so that you can like measure multiple things to be like, okay, that's like 15 feet wide, that's 9 feet tall, and stuff like that. I've used that, and it's actually pretty accurate.
Cool.
Yeah. Technology is crazy these days, right? Yeah. Wow. Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a show that uses technology to make it happen. It wouldn't be possible without technology and viewers like you.
We should do like an old school podcast once where we just record it on a cassette tape and mail it to our subscribers.
That'd be really funny. Or just like do some like old time radio play thing where we record it but make it sound like all the like old school radio play stuff, and then have that be the podcast.
It's just one of us shaking a cookie sheet so it sounds like thunder.
Yeah. Oh no, what's happening out there?
We're sponsored by Colgate.
This week sponsored by Colgate.
Brought to you by smoking.
Don't try this at home, kids. But yeah, welcome to episode 103 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by Melissa Wilkinson.
Yep.
One of those weeks. How
are you this week?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little bit caffeinated right now, which is good. Fun. All right. I think this is like a third time maybe I've had caffeine since the pandemic started. Well, no. Fourth, maybe fifth. But I've been trying to cut out caffeine and stuff from my life, and kind of cutting out soda, period. But I bought a 6-pack of those like mini cans of Mountain Dew, because this weekend there's 2 video games that came out that I really wanted to play. Paper Mario, and Ghosts of Tsushima. So,
those seem very different.
very much so. One is like a Mario kind of RPG adventure story, but everything is styled like it's paper. Like the first one I played was on Nintendo 64. Actually, that was the only one that I played. But yeah, it's all like 2D in the sense that it's not like pixels on the thing. It's just meant to look like Mario is a piece of paper and all of that stuff. All the stuff is made out of paper. And it looks fantastic. And this one has a bunch of origami themes within it. It's Paper Mario and the Origami King. So there's a bunch of characters that are made to look like they've been made out of origami and stuff like that, which is neat, but it's good. It's fun.
Cool.
Very relaxing. And then Ghost of Tsushima is a samurai game. What's neat with that one, though, is they have a Kurosawa mode.
Ah.
Yeah. Which is basically just a black and white mode that you can play the game in. But yeah, it's a samurai game. If you look it up, it is beautiful. Just all the different colors and stuff. But then when you switch on Kurosawa mode, it really, really looks like all of his old samurai films, and just like it's like, this is so cool. Love it.
Neat.
Oh, I have yet to play that one though. Bless you.
Ah!
Did it like come alive or something?
No, I'm just alarmed when I sneeze out of nowhere in like like if I've been outside or I've been cleaning or something, cool. If I just finished washing my face and I wonder if maybe I hit some weird pressure point, okay. But when I'm just sitting here and it happens, I get really scared. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what did that.
Why are you doing this to me?
Is this a sign of more to come?
Are you a single sneezer? Like when you sneeze, do you only sneeze once?
Well, I'm not married, Kyle.
A married sneezer. But like
only pairs of two.
Do you know? I mean, you've seen people that sneeze like 7 or 8 times in a row, and it's just like, my God, what is wrong with you? And then there's the ones that do like one sneeze or 2 sneezes, and it's just like, that's all? Any more? You sure?
Well, how many are you supposed to be doing?
It's different for everyone. So I'm asking you, what's normal for you?
You were upset at both numbers as like an observer. Just like, all you have is 2, or geez,
that's all you got?
12?
You call that a sneeze?
It's pretty solitary, sporadic. I guess there's more it has been more if I'm legitimately sick or if my allergies are very bad.
I'm usually a double sneezer.
Oh,
there you go. Fun fact. the more you know.
There was a kid I went to elementary school with whose sneeze sounded exactly like the sound effect for a Pokeball opening.
Now I have to
Which
look
I can't
this
imitate, but you know what it is.
Okay. Pokeball. Oops. Ball opening.
It's the one from the anime. I don't know if it sounds different in the video games or whatever.
Ball opening sound effect. I'm listening to this on YouTube. Play. I don't think that's the sound that you think it is. Or that might be the wrong sound. Let me see. What's another one? Now, do I have if I go to here's the one that I just
this is real exciting content. Because I can't see you or hear anything that you're doing.
Yeah. I don't know. My thing was not working. Opposite end. But yeah, that was like long, loud. It sounded wet.
Yeah.
Oddly metallic.
Maybe he was a robot boy. I don't know.
That what I would sound like if I was a robot. Do robots sneeze?
Oh. Well, I've never seen one, but it could happen. Like, what if that's something that just happens in, like... Oh, the movie Bicentennial Man probably had a scene where he sneezed for the first time. I don't know for sure, but that seems like something it would have.
I mean, we know they dream of electric sheep. But, like...
No, well, we never found that out.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's
Dick
still
was asking us.
It's like, I don't know, do you know? That's weird. It's always strange when you see movies or TV shows where robots do, like, no normal things. It's like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you sitting on the toilet? This is weird.
I don't know what movies you're watching.
I don't know. I just made it up. I don't even have one that's like robot.
Have you seen
toilet.
the movie Bicentennial Man?
I actually haven't. That's the one with Robin Williams, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I have not seen this movie since I was like 10 years old, and I have difficulty believing that it is a real film, but my dad still owns it. Last time I went over to the house, I saw it on the shelf, and I'm like, I'm going to borrow this so I can prove to myself it is a real movie. So Robin Williams plays an android who starts getting biological augmentations.
Okay.
To where at the end of the movie, he's pretty, like, everything about him has been replaced.
Human.
He's like full human by the end of the movie, and this process has taken so long, and his, android parts have kept him alive, that when he dies at the end of the movie, he's 200 years old, and that's why the movie's called Bicentennial Man.
Gotcha. Interesting. Sam, have you seen Bicentennial Man? Sam's hanging out with us in the chat right now, just like you could be on twitch.tv/the Whatnauts. Come on down, hang out with us. We live stream these every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Come hang out with us. Come follow us on Twitch. Sam says she has not seen Bicentennial. That's okay. Join the club, Sam, because I haven't seen it.
It's not a big movie. As I've said, it's a movie like I often look back on, like, that was... do you know the movie What Dreams May Come? Because that one's even worse, where I've never heard of a single person mention it. It's this movie where Robin Williams, I think, dies. He might have committed suicide. I'm not sure. But it's him wandering through death. And death looks like an oil impressionist painting. And he can, like, observe the world outside, and I know he's, like, watching his wife, and it looks like his wife might commit suicide. And he has to try and figure out how to haunt her for her own good, to give her a sense of hope that he's still okay out there, and she doesn't have to be so upset, and she can, like, find somebody who will help her. It's an adult drama for an adult. But we watched this at my grandparents' house.
Drama
my grandparents
for babies.
grew up.
That's what we need more of.
You don't know what a kid's first drama is. I'm gonna think on this and get back to you. That's an interesting puzzle.
We ask the tough.
So my grandparents lived on this.
We ask the tough questions here.
Right. So my grandparents lived on this farm, like, hours away from anything. And so, they don't have a Blockbuster. This was in, like, the late 90s, early 2000s. They did not get internet until, like, 2010. It was a long time coming. But when there was a movie they were curious about, they'd have to call my dad and have my dad rent it from Blockbuster and bring it with us when we'd go visit.
Man,
and the way their house was set up,
as Netflix. Just call someone. Hey, can you go rent this and bring it over?
Yeah, it's Gregflix.
Yeah, exactly.
But the way their house was set up, they had like this big like living room, great room area. And so there was nowhere to be besides that. There's like a little back
open floor plan thing.
Yeah. And there's like a little back bedroom that's the guest bedroom, but there's like nothing in there. Well, I mean, there's furniture in there, but there's nothing fun. It's not like there's a second TV back there. And like the lighting's weird. It's like a sad little room. I always slept on the couch next to my grandma, who slept in an armchair sitting up because she had breathing problems, and both of us would have our lamps on. We'd stay up reading all night. It was great. So anyway, I don't have like a bedroom to retreat to because it's the couch. It's the couch that everybody's on. I just have to wait for the movie to be over before I can like curl up and go to sleep. So the point is, if Grandma and Grandpa want to watch a movie, we're all watching the movie.
Yeah.
If it's a sad adult drama where Robin Williams wanders through a painting, we all gotta watch it.
Speaking of continue. You were not done.
No, I'm just saying, like, I had to sit through that movie when I was like too young for it because it was not overly adult enough that Dad would say, no, let's not watch that in front of the kids. It wasn't inappropriate. It was just sad, which didn't get us out of watching it. We all just sit around and watch this sad movie together.
You did a couple weeks ago. You did mention that you got exposed to a lot of like sad adult films when you were younger.
Yeah. I think this was one of them.
Yeah.
I never hear anybody talk about this movie, and I need to see it again. As I said, I gotta know this really happened to me.
Yeah. Speaking of Blockbuster, this just came to mind as you mentioned it. Is there a movie or something that when you think of Blockbuster, this is the one you think of?
I rented the same couple things from Blockbuster over and over again. I rented the first, both Ghostbusters movies, both Gremlins movies, I think the Addams Family movies.
All good choices.
And a couple tapes of Pokemon episodes.
Okay.
Some other stuff might have been in the rotation, but those were the big ones.
Okay. For some reason with me, it's Silence of the Lambs. It's the one with the woman with the like completely white face, and it has the butterfly over her mouth. I saw that. I knew it was a movie that I was not allowed to watch. It was so striking and like intriguing, but scary, but not really scary. Just like this is like I'm like
it's foreboding.
Yeah, like it's foreboding. I'm drawn to it, but I'm haunted.
It isn't scary, but it means something scary.
Yeah. And it was just like, this is an interesting one. But yeah, for some reason, like whenever we went into Blockbuster, there it was, just on the shelf there. Now, what is this? This is wild.
Right? And you're a little kid and you don't understand it's just a visual metaphor. I remember doing that with not the same emotion, not looking at this movie poster and being frightened of it, but the poster for Office Space, where it's the man covered in Post-it notes.
That's like a good one.
As a kid, I didn't know that was like a one-page visual gag for the poster. I always thought, oh, that's a scene in the movie. And as I got older, I'm like, why have I never seen a clip of that scene from the movie? It must happen. Why have I seen it in a commercial or something? And then I see the movie when I'm like 13 years old. I'm like, nobody gets covered in Post-it notes. Why not?
It's like so lame. Nope. There's not enough Post-it notes. 2 out of 5. That's a great movie, though. I love Office Space.
I have not rewatched it since I was 13. I need to see it now that I am in Office.
It's so funny. I'm a people person, goddammit! I love people!
Kyle, what color do you want your computer to be?
For me, it's black.
Okay.
Which my CPU is black. My monitors are both black.
Your soul is black.
Yeah, my soul is black. I used a heart emoji on our tweet when we tweeted out that we were live, and it was a black heart, just like my black soul.
I was watching a video about an old computer the other night because I do this to fall asleep. Like archaic technology of my childhood and shortly before my childhood calms me. And I miss when computers were beige. Like, there's so much less beige now that I feel like we don't get it enough. Like, there's not enough beige in our diets. So I feel like computers went from warm beige, and then I think there was a brief period where it was cool beige, and then it just went to, like, slate gray and black.
See, I
want to go back to warm beige.
I remember, like, a really, really light gray, almost an off-white. But then I remember that color not aging well, and that's how they became beige.
Yeah, people used to like smoke inside offices.
Yeah. In the like dingy computer server rooms where there's no ventilation and stuff like that. So you wrote that down in our notes.
Yes.
We can circle back around to this. Then you wrote, I made friends with an old lady, which you'll have to tell me about down the road. And then the next thing that my mind thought of was, old ladies are beige.
They may be, yes.
That's just immediately where my mind went. So we'll get back to both of those. But beige computers. What is so nostalgic about beige computers?
I really love what childhood me thought that adulthood would be, but technology and society and culture and everything has completely outpaced it. Like, I'm really nostalgic for what I thought at 8 years old I would be doing now at the age that I am.
Which is?
I thought, I did think that I would work in an office, and I thought I would have like a big beige computer. Oh, I always wanted to be an office lady. Right. Floppy disks. They're like so tactile. I really liked him as a kid. Old keyboards, old mice, just like everything, like clunky plastic storage containers to put your CD-ROMs in. Yeah. Everything was really tactile to me. I love the way like Windows 95 looked.
Okay.
Like I don't want it to replace anything I have now, but I just want to like look at it. Like, I just want to watch B-roll of somebody doing various mundane tasks on a Windows 95 computer and like put that on YouTube and then fall asleep.
You can probably get a theme for your computer that makes it look like Windows 95.
But I don't know if I want that all the time. I just want like flavorings of it.
A little sprinkle of Windows 95.
Right, yeah.
Because like all I can think of now when it's like that Windows 95 aesthetic is the like God, I hate when my brain does this and it can't remember words. I guess it is vaporwave, where it's just the like elevator music, Windows 95, some kind of Greek column, the statue of David, and a lot of palm trees and like light pinks and light purples, stuff like that. You need a vaporwave poster in your room then.
So earlier this year, dawn of the new year, I needed a wall calendar for my desk at work because normally the company that brings us all of our office supplies like pens and paper and stuff, they give out these free calendars, but everybody else just grabbed them before I was able to get one. I'm like, oh, I have to buy a calendar for the first time in several years. And I thought about, like, what kind of calendar do I want?
It's like that scene in Office Space when they're passing out the cake and they keep saying, take one and pass it down. And then that one guy doesn't get any cake.
Oh. But I realized what I wanted was a vaporwave calendar, and I could not find one.
Really?
All these sites that have like vaporwave fashions or like a throwback mouse pad or something. I just wanted a wall calendar. I couldn't get one. So I ended up just making my own. Not exactly vaporwave. I've got a Pinterest board called Bygone Interiors that's just old home and office and retail design from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
That's funny.
It's my biggest board. I really love it. So I just took my favorite pictures from that and I designed my own like big wall calendar pages that I would print out on like big sheets of legal paper and like thumbtack to my bulletin board.
Man.
So I had those. And now there's no point in having them because I'm not at a cubicle. I don't know what month I will be back in my office. But when I know, then I'll design another calendar page.
Waves calendar. No. Yeah, not what you're looking for. It seems like an odd thing. You would think there would be some kind of like different vaporwave thing.
Right, because like I want a wall calendar that's a place I can escape to, and I want to escape to just an aqua void next to the buttons from old Microsoft Paint.
I see.
That's where I want to live.
I see a couple on Etsy, but they're not great. They're more like 80s themed than they are vaporwave, but man. Gold mine out there for people who want to make vaporwave calendars. You can corner the market.
If somebody else makes one, I'll buy it next year.
Corner the market with that. I'm not a calendar person. I don't keep a calendar. I don't keep notes on most things. I remember not taking notes in my AP history. I just sat there and paid attention, and that worked fine.
How fine?
I passed. Like I still got all of my credits and stuff like that. But that's the thing. I've always found that I could retain information if I just paid attention. That was it. Like I don't need to take notes, and oftentimes when I did take notes, I found myself not retaining the information because I was too focused on taking the notes rather than retaining the information, if that makes sense. So.
This is your cybernetic enhancement, Kyle. You already have it.
It's one of them, I guess.
Gotta get that arm, though.
Right? Yeah. Saving up for that arm. Yeah. I think the thing that I'm
sorry. I keep thinking about a future where, okay, cybernetic enhancements are out. You can get them now, just like you've always dreamed. And what if there's people that are like, oh, cybernetic arm? Yes, finally. But it's like with any new technology where the first round has some bugs in it. It's like how I basically bought the first
just a functional bop it for an arm.
Like you just got like a real dead arm and you're like, yeah, I wanted to be an early adopter. I should have waited for volume 2.
Yeah.
Model 2.
Yeah. I mean, as
cybernetic arm.
If they can figure out the way to attach it and it works, they can eventually just continue upgrading the arm and stuff like that, right?
Oh my!
Plug it in. And
yeah. I don't like my arm, but I gotta wait 2 years until my contract is up. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to pay an update fee to get the new model of arm.
Yeah. Exactly how it'll be.
Oh no, I dropped arm and the screen cracked. Now there's glass shards in my bed. I have to wrap a trash bag around it when I go to sleep.
I gotta love cyberpunk. Yeah, no. I don't know if I'm nostalgic for that look of stuff, or old beige computers and floppy disks and stuff like that. Vaporwave is okay. I like it. I'm more of the darker end, so the more Outrun style.
Stuff.
But
This is how we should bill the podcast, hosted by one Outrun and one Vaporwave.
One Outrun cyberpunk and one Vaporwave office worker.
Yes.
Exactly. So you made friends with an old lady. Tell me about said old lady.
Okay. So my parents have a friend whose family operates a local seniors home. Okay. And I said to my mom, you know what? I've been wanting to do more community service lately, but my options are so limited being at home all the time. Does your friend who operates the seniors home, can I get in contact with her and just offer myself up as a senior pal? Because seniors are just so isolated now. Like, the visitation's pretty much cut because there's such a high risk population that they're not able to go out on little outings. They can't have their family visit them. So I'm like, how about I offer myself up as pen pal, or I'll call you on the phone. If you're good with a computer, if you have a computer station, I'll send you an email. Mm-hmm. Just senior pal. Hi, it's me. I can do it.
Sam says, that's probably me.
Because I grew up with my mom's mom was in a nursing home my whole life because I'm a younger kid. So she was considerably old when I was born. So I grew up always going there to visit her and getting to know her neighbors and helping out with little activities and volunteering there. And since all my grandparents died off, I found I missed this. So let me get in contact with this lady. So what my mom did was she wrote her friend a letter.
Okay.
She did not call her. She wrote her a letter saying, hey, my daughter I've mentioned, she wants to know if any of your seniors are lonely and want to talk to her.
Okay.
And I'm trying to explain this to my mom, and my mom's writing the letter, and she wrote, she has a yearn to serve.
So I saw Sam's thing that said, that's probably me, thinking that she was identifying as the senior citizen. That is not what she was saying at all. I missed the statement before that she asked, is Satan wave a thing?
Satan wave.
Sam, let's make it a thing. Satan wave is now a thing.
Yeah. Yep, that's you.
So let's introduce that to the senior citizens. Introducing Satan wave.
So my mom wrote her friend a letter and mailed her the letter. Uh-huh. And then I didn't hear anything back for a while. I figure she's busy. I don't know. And mom put all my contact info in the letter. It's here is her number and her email address and her postal address. If anybody wants to send her a letter back. Yes. Which is, I guess, how my mom believes people communicate. So I was expecting that this lady would get in touch with me hey, thanks for offering to volunteer with our seniors. We've got old, what's an old man name? Victor? We've got old Victor. His grandkids don't come to see him. They don't call him. Do you want to talk to him about baseball? And I'm well, I'll learn about baseball. Sure. Today, out of nowhere, at 5:30 this afternoon, I get a phone call from a number I don't recognize. I pick it up to see what it is. And it's this old woman who says, hi, I'm Bonnie from Shady Oaks. I got your letter. So what do you like to do? There was no introduction set up by my mom's friend. They just handed this piece of mail around to an old lady who just called me out of nowhere.
Great.
I would know she would be there.
Great. So how did your conversation with Bonnie go? Did you talk about baseball? Did you talk about vaporwave? Aren't you nostalgic for beige computers like me? Do you even know what a computer is?
She asked me what I like to do for fun, first question off the bat, and I was so startled that I said the first thing I always say, which is, I record podcasts. So then I had to explain to her what a podcast was.
Not gonna go over well.
I think she got it okay.
It's basically a talk show.
Yeah.
On the radio, except we put them on the internet.
You download them whenever you want.
Yeah.
I think she got it. She's only 69, which is
Nice.
younger than I thought I would get. Yeah, nice.
Go.
Oh, she asked me if I had pets. I said my roommate has 3 mice. She talked about how she's scared of mice, but thinks that a rat might be nice because they're a little bit bigger. And that's, I guess, less creepy to her than a tiny little mouse. I understand. She talked about how when she was younger, she took a vacation in New York City, but it happened to fall during a garbage workers' strike. So there was trash and rats everywhere.
There you go.
She's like, this wasn't worth it. I want to go home. Oh, but she's going to call me again tomorrow.
Oh, man. Melissa, what have you gotten yourself into?
I don't know. It's happening. Me and Bonnie are best friends.
The new Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Melissa.
Yep.
That's wild. Have you seen that post? I'm sure it's on, I think I saw it on Twitter. Or something, or maybe I saw it a long time ago.
I haven't been anywhere.
Maybe I saw it a long time ago on Tumblr or something. But it's the post that says, when someone asks me like what I'm into, I never know how to respond, choking or hiking, and it's just like, it's like what are you really getting at here? Like
It's good.
Yeah.
What if my answer to both is beige computers?
Yeah. Funny. Oh man. I don't think I don't know if I would ever do that. Like I feel like the idea of like pen pals and stuff like that is weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that I'm opposed to it. I just like it feels so foreign to me. Like it's not something that Kyle would do.
Yeah, it's fine.
But like, have you had stuff like that where you're just like, oh, that is just something that Melissa just would not do. Like it just feels foreign to you. Just like, this is strange. Who does this?
I don't know.
People do this? They make pen pals. They make friends
I'm real
with
baffled by
old people.
I'm real baffled by flip-flops.
Okay, fair enough.
Like I get the purpose of them, but I don't. I own one pair of flip-flops that's exclusively for the pool, and that's it. I bought them like 8 years ago, and they're hardly worn out at all because I wear them like the one time a year I go to a pool. That's all I have them for.
Man.
Like people just wear flip-flops all the time. I respect it, but I can't comprehend it.
Not a flip-flops gal. Okay,
Yeah.
well, there you go. So when you mentioned computers were beige, that you made friends with an old lady, I was like, old ladies are beige.
Sure.
Do you have? So I'm not synesthetic and stuff like. Do you happen to know what that is?
It's where you like. I was gonna say that's where you see colors,
Basically.
And I'm like, no, Melissa, that's most people who can see colors.
It's when certain things you see them as certain colors. So if I say
right, or you can like
number 3,
taste a number.
Yeah. Number 3 tastes like a double quarter pounder with cheese, right?
Not a single double.
Yeah. But like, are there certain types of people that give off a certain vibe to you that like, oh, this person or these types of people are green? I don't know why, but they're just green.
Maybe.
Because I don't necessarily see them as like, oh, when I see this person, it's just purple, and I see purple, and that's it. But I like every now and again, just like reading someone's energy or the vibe that they're giving off, like in that moment, I'm just like, reminds me of like doo-doo brown or something. Look, I'm just naming random colors.
The classic Crayola.
Oh, Tickle me pink. Doo-doo brown. Like, is there some example you can think of off the top of your head?
Of a person who's a color?
Person or a type of person or what? All policemen are yellow. I don't know.
What color am I?
I would go between yellows and reds.
Okay. Are you just naming the colors I am wearing?
No, you do have a yellow room that is you're into like soft yellow lighting, which is partly why.
Yeah.
But then I feel like you give off a certain like confident office worker vibe, in which case red.
Red, okay. All right. Some 1 part butter and 1 part boss woman.
Sure. I don't know.
It's me, the butter boss.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
What color do you think you are?
I don't know. I want to say purple because that's my favorite color.
Yeah,
and if you didn't know, purple is a mix of red and blue. So
tell the people.
Yep. Gotta remind them.
They'll forget otherwise.
Right? Exactly. Go check out our old episode of The Captain's Log, where I very straight-faced explained that purple is a mix of red and blue.
It needs to be said.
No, I guess I don't know. Like, now in my mind, I'm thinking green. But
for you?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think.
What color am I?
I don't know. I see you in so much colored lighting that you put on. Well, now I don't. I just you're just a void.
Black screen
and like
to
a
match
little
my black heart.
And the little picture of you is blurry.
Yes.
Like it's artistically
red.
blurry. It's right. You're wearing a red shirt and your face is all blurred out like the movie poster for Jacob's Ladder.
I'm not familiar with that, but I remember taking those pictures. That was back in college when Paul was still my roommate. I was in art school.
Paul, I've got an idea. What if nobody can see my face clearly? Perfect portraits. And I'm going to make these my profile picture on things.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I've seen you in so many colors. Like, I feel like I have not gotten a sense of your pure color aura.
I've been obfuscated color aura.
We should get our aura portraits done. If you go to like New Age, I swear this is a thing. I don't think I'm explaining it right, but at least part of what I'm saying is a real thing. They'll take your picture with a special camera, or they'll scan you or something, and it's like a picture of you, but like with a colored haze around you, and then somebody's like, yeah, you're real green, and the green means this about you. That's good. And it's like, oh, ooh, you're too purple.
Is it
too
is
purple?
It like an
you gotta
infrared?
work on that. I don't know. It's like more spiritual than an infrared. I don't think an infrared can feel feelings. I don't know how to explain to you what it is. I saw like one poster about it in a New Age shop. I got my cards read. It wasn't even tarot. It was a different card, and I don't know what that was. I didn't pick up any useful information from this trip.
What else is there besides tarot cards?
Whatever this lady did, I don't know.
And this is a 2 of diamonds. It's gonna be followed up by that is a blue eyes white dragon. It appears you've activated my trap card.
I would like to be read that way.
Sam says Lenormand. Is that it was Lenormand?
Lenormand? It might have been. I think there was an L in it. I don't know. Sam knows the stuff.
Lenormand. I'm looking it up online. An introduction to Lenormand cards, what this website says. What are Lenormand cards? Tarot and other forms of cartomancy have been around for as long as playing cards themselves have existed. So yeah, see, this is the two of clubs. This means that you're gonna fall in love. And the history of the whole practice spans well over 6 centuries. For many decades now, tarot has been the main focus of those interested in spirituality and self-development. While they were once used for divination, we actually argue. What?
I just remembered something. Keep talking if you want.
Like, what's so funny?
Nothing's funny. Actually, something that happened 11 years ago is funny.
We actually argue here that their most important use is not in telling the future, but as a tool for developing your own sense of empowerment and self-knowledge. The Lenormand is another divination tool with a similar history and purpose to that of the tarot. It is a 200-year-old system from the heart of Europe, a deck of 36 cards that has held its place in the living rooms and salons of France and Germany for several generations, made of simple, straightforward imagery. The cards themselves deal with more tangible issues rather than psychological ones. It doesn't really help me, but that's a good
Kyle
thing.
Do you remember my story about Daniel Torrington, that boy we made a mix CD for? Okay. So he was in my grade in high school. Uh-huh. And we've graduated high school, and we are at our senior lock-in, our project graduation.
Sure.
We all have this thing. It's at the St. Peter's Rec Complex, which is considerably, it's like half an hour away from our high school, but that's the best rec complex in the metropolitan area. So I understand why we were out there.
I gotcha.
And there's all these activities for us to do. I think they have an ice rink there. There were pools. There was magic shows. There was a teen casino room where you're not really betting on anything. And there was a caricature artist. So I got my caricature done. It doesn't really look like me. It just looks like lady. But
generic lady.
She asked me. I'm going to show you a picture of it. It is
posted by a vaporwave generic lady.
It doesn't very strongly not look like me, but it doesn't look like me either.
Sure, that makes sense.
She asked me what I wanted, and I said I want to be riding a unicorn and holding an Emmy Award.
Yes. Okay.
So that's what I have. I still have this thing.
Can you send me a picture of that? I want to see it.
Yes. One of the activities was a tarot card reading, and I did it, and it was, you know what? Much like the caricature. It was just sort of generic. There was nothing that was wildly wrong, but also nothing that really spoke to me.
Yeah. It
was just right down the middle. I believe in other ones. I'm sure I could get a good one just for this one lady who had to give them to piles of teenagers late at night. It wasn't a good one, and I understand.
Yeah, who probably aren't willing to necessarily truly open up about stuff and so it's all like, oh my God, will he go out with me? And they're just like, what do I do with that? I'm not a fucking magic 8-ball.
Yeah.
So are you more of a horoscope person?
Well, do you want to hear about Daniel Torrington first?
Sorry.
Right. I was just asking to double check that you remembered. No. So the area where they had the tarot cards set up was in this, it's by this bank of elevators. Okay. This is a huge rec complex. It is a couple floors.
I'd like to deposit 3 banks. Or 3 elevators.
Oh,
God damn,
deposit a
I'm
bank
way
in the
too
bank.
scatterbrained. It's the caffeine in me.
Okay, so you want to take out a loan? What kind of collateral do you have? I have another bank.
Sorry, continue with your story.
We're by this group of elevators, and while I'm waiting to get my cards read, there's one elevator that's broken, and the door keeps like opening and closing at random times when there's nobody in the elevator and nobody's pressing the buttons.
Not creepy at all.
Right. So I'm standing around looking at this with a bunch of other kids, including Daniel Torrington, and then Daniel's like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. And then he like gets in the elevator, waves goodbye to us, and the doors close. And then I didn't see him again. I didn't see him again.
So that's why you made the mixtape, because he died on that elevator, or he just disappeared and no one knew where he went. So you made him this mixtape and being like, I hope you come back one day.
You know what? I'm not entirely right. What I think happened was that he gets in the elevator, and I didn't see him. He just went. I think he also like had another part of the rec complex he wanted to get to. So it was also like, I do need an elevator ride. Let's see if this one works. And it's also a gag that I'm waving goodbye to my friends as I stand in a haunted elevator. Right. But so I didn't see him again immediately. And I'm standing there like in the line waiting to get my cards read, and I'm thinking, what if that is the last time I see Daniel Torrington? And as far as I know, for the rest of my life, he's got in an elevator and it ate him. But later that night, I think at like the hypnotist show, I did see him in the crowd. And I'm like, okay, an elevator did not eat him.
And
But for like a couple hours.
or maybe you were
like
hypnotized
the fantasy I was
to
living
believe
under.
you saw him.
Have you ever been hypnotized or been to a hypnotism show?
No, I have not. Or have I got my tarot cards read or my Yu-Gi-Oh cards read?
You gotta get out here and explore some of this stuff, Kyle.
I would love to do a tarot card writing here on the podcast. Yeah. I think that would be fantastic. I don't put much stock in that stuff, but I'd be willing to check it out for the show. Be fun. Yeah.
So I saw a hypnotist at my high school project lock-in where a Daniel Torrington almost went to the underworld.
Which is also what happens in the Office Space. They get hypnotized in that movie.
Oh, right! That's the inciting incident for that film. And I knew a guy in college who learned hypnotism.
Okay.
Like he picked this up as a side hobby, and he like rented out like one of the student like center rooms. It's like, okay, everybody come up and I'm going to try hypnotism. Like it's just going to be like a fun show for people. And I wanted to try it. And like it didn't work on me. I could not be hypnotized.
Immune to hypnotism.
Which was kind of a bummer, yeah. But I watched him do it to other people, and it's just sort of fun stuff like pretend you're a Pokemon. Or imagine like this other person's your best friend you haven't seen in a long time. What would you say to them? Like sort of fun, cute, silly things. And there's a local anime convention we have where he did a panel that was this hypnotism stuff again, anime themed. So it is more stuff like pretend you're your favorite Pokemon, pretend you're a Gundam pilot. I've got a picture
I don't need to be
somewhere.
Hypnotized for that one.
I already am every day.
Yeah. You just be like, hey, Kyle, do the thing. I'll be like, take this, Xeon scum. You know?
But I've got a picture somewhere of somebody who is hypnotized to believe they're like a Gundam or a Voltron pilot or something, and they need to construct their mech. So it's just them hypnotized, like stacking a bunch of chairs on top of each other.
Please say they climbed on top of it.
I don't think I think he like kind of pulled them out of it before they did that. But yeah, there's a picture of like a couple chairs on top of each other.
It's so weird. Yeah, I don't like I don't believe in that kind of thing. Like I could understand more like horoscope card reading stuff, but I don't know about the hypnotism. That one I'm just like I don't think so. But I don't know.
You think they're all playing along?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not knowledgeable enough to really say one way or another. But it's hard for me to believe that. Like, I also, like, I don't know if I believe in God or some kind of higher power. I just, like, I don't know. Is the thing. I don't know if there's enough to say one way or another, and I think it's the same thing with like hypnotism. Sure, some of them I'm sure are just playing along, but like this guy's trying his best. You know, I'm just gonna play along. But then I don't necessarily put it past, or like I'm not gonna like discount that somehow some people might be able to connect with some kind of inner feeling and bring it out somehow, and you know, do stuff like that. Like that makes sense, kind of.
Yeah,
I don't know, whatever. But there you go. Good stuff. Melissa, I wanted to ask you a question because I saw this in the news this past week. And I hadn't heard you mention this yet, which was a little surprising. But apparently, there's a new Dresden Files book that came out this week.
Kyle, we did talk about this.
Did we really?
Yes. A couple months ago, there was a
ago.
trailer. They filmed a trailer for this book.
That's what it was for.
Where they hired actors and they just like scripted out the major scenes of the book. Yeah, I showed this to you because we talk about movie trailers on this show, and I wanted your reaction to a trailer for a book series you knew nothing about.
Okay, so yeah, that book is now finally out this week.
Yeah, okay. I got my copy today. Nice. It's sitting on my coffee table, just waiting.
Nice. Is that what you're planning on being up to this next month? This next week? I'm not sure how fast you go through books.
I can go through them pretty fast. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna and maybe later tonight I'll take some time. You know, flip through the previous books, remind myself of my favorite parts, the dangling story threads I'm excited for. Files. Right. Why did you know about this if you forgot that I told you about it 3 months ago?
I saw it on my Twitter feed somehow. So someone was talking about it. And I was just like, oh, huh. I bet Melissa knows about that. So here we are. And
I do. I have purchased
apparently it. I knew about this too and just completely forgot because I haven't read any of the Dresden stuff.
You and your memory.
Right? My great memory. Don't need to take notes. It works wonders.
The fact that you remember a book I like at all is pretty good.
Well, no, like I remembered you like that. I remember you sharing that Dresden Files. Here's a trailer for the book. I just didn't put two and two together that trailer was for a new book that is the book that I saw a couple of days ago on Twitter. But now that you mentioned, it's like, oh, okay, sure.
Yep, you were there.
Trying to think what the last book that I bought was, like the last proper book. I had one gifted to me that I had on a wish list, but I don't know if you want to count that as like that's the one that I bought because I didn't buy that one. Last one that I bought, I think I bought a couple at one time. I bought Fight Club, I bought Catcher in the Rye, and I bought something else. Right, what a combo!
What the heck is the third thing that completes that set?
I probably bought some kind of like C.S. Lewis something of just like I'm gonna buy one of his like compiled works because he's a good author.
Look, I'm a cool loner. but also I like talking lions.
It wasn't his Narnia stuff. It was his more religious stuff.
I know that stuff is good, yeah.
Well, but
not to pigeonhole C.S. Lewis into exclusively talking lion-based literature.
I mean, that was also religious, too.
Lion is God,
right? Yeah. But the one that was gifted to me was the name. I think it's called "Between the World and Me" by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah.
And I haven't read it yet. It's been on my shelf since they gifted it to me for like 3 years now, 4 years ago. I don't know when they gifted me the book. It's been a while, but I just read comics mostly. That's my thing. Sam says the lion is Jesus. There's a difference, I think.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, who's Mr. Tumnus then?
Mr. Tumnus.
How far does this metaphor go?
I thought Mr. Tumnus was like Samwise Gamgee, right?
No.
Am I mixing metaphors here? No.
You just have fantasy blindness where all fantasy stories are one thing.
Right. But speaking of comics, I have been slowly but surely getting my girlfriend into reading some comics. And I started her out with The Runaways, which is a great place to start because it takes place within the Marvel universe, but takes place in Los Angeles, which like 90% of the Marvel universe is all in New York. So it's a good place to start where it's like, you're not really going to run into any kind of other characters. You'll see Spider-Man, you'll see Wolverine, but like you don't need to know a thing, right?
Venom's a couple hours away.
Yeah, like you
need that comforting presence.
It's all new characters, so you start from issue 1 and you're like, I don't need to know anything else. But she's gotten up to the point in the Runaways story, and she's gotten up to a certain spot, and I had her stop because I was like, okay, between this issue and the next issue of the Runaways, Civil War takes place. So I want you to read your first event book. And so I had her read Civil War with me. And I was like, you're probably not going to understand who half of these characters are or some of the things that they're talking about. But the gist of the story is all contained within like this book here. You'll understand what's happening despite not knowing who most of these people are. And yeah, that it's a good book, but it's a lot simpler than I remember.
How much of it is there?
It's only 7 issues.
Oh, really?
Short, yeah. There was a second book called Civil War Frontline, which I really liked, but that's all like side stories, like extra stuff that you don't necessarily need to know. And then of course there's all the like tie-ins and stuff like that. Like after I think I might, I've let her know, is like, I really liked Civil War Frontline. It really wasn't a popular book. There's some stories in here that are just flat out bad. But I thought it was a neat book because it like twists some of the perspective of like, you thought it was like this one thing, but here's what was going on underneath it all, right? And once we get done with that, I'm going to be like, okay, here's the Runaways tie-ins issues. So, so it's like, okay, you've read your story, you've read your first event book, you've seen the tie-ins, like you're starting to get a feel for all of that stuff, which has been good. But yeah, Civil War, it's a lot simpler in the comic than I remember it being, which was an interesting thing to go read. But it's been good. It's been fun.
That sounds fun.
If you don't consider yourself a comic book person.
No, I'm comics adjacent.
Sure.
Like I when somebody gives me, I love comic book based things. I feel like I know more than the average person does about comic related things. And when you give me a comic, I do like it, but it's too overwhelming for me to like go out and find things to read for myself if I didn't have to for this podcast.
If from your perspective, if you were going to jump in to comic, like if you were like, for some reason, Melissa was like, I'm gonna start reading more comics and stuff like that, where would you start, or what would you do to seek out that information or stuff like that?
There was a period in college where I did want to try to get into comics, and I did go around to various shops. Like, okay, if I read one Thor, what is it? You know, what's the best story about Gotham City, but not necessarily about Batman?
Sure.
Stuff like that. And I had a whole list, and I read some of them. Like, I think I read God Loves, Man Kills.
Okay. I still
I think the first volume of Ultimate Avengers, whatever was the first appearance of Nick Fury looking like Samuel L. Jackson. I read that.
He's he looks like Nick Fury in the Ultimate Universe. So it was probably Ultimate Spider-Man was his first appearance, but yeah,
it was just an Avengers. A Wasp that was there. I don't remember.
That's a good book.
I don't know what else I did. Oh no, I did read. Batman was easy for me to do. I feel like Batman's got a lot of like, all right, here's Killing Joke
novel
and Year One. Yeah. Right, yeah. I feel like he's got that more than like any other superhero I can name, where you can pick up just a lot of individual graphic novels about him. Yeah. I took a comic book history class at a local comic book store. That was pretty fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was rad.
I made a tweet this past week that was like, one day I want to be known as, like, if I could be known as an expert in something, I would want a dual expertise in post-crisis DC comics and Gundams. So that if they ever interview me on the news, it would be like local DC Comics or like local post-crisis DC Comics expert or like local Gundam expert.
You should petition to get that added to your email signature at work.
Right, local Gundam expert.
Local Gundam expert.
It would be great. I'd love it.
What is... Wow, man, we should have like little individual titles like that on our email signatures.
Wouldn't it be great? But yeah, that's I think that's one way to start. I think that's one way a lot of people try and dive in. It's difficult to get into comics because there's so many ways you can, and there's not really a wrong way.
Yeah,
but
no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
Right. But I think
no wrong way to read a
no wrong way to reread a Reese's.
No wrong way to read a Reed Richards.
But yeah, I think one thing that people are kind of scared to do is just jump in and be like, I'm interested in Captain America, or I'm interested in reading Ghost Rider or Blue Beetle or Spider-Man. And then they're always like, okay, well, where should I start? Do I start with number 1? Do I start with this? There's 3 number 1s. Why do I do that? Like,
right.
And to me, I think one thing that helps is just picking up whatever issue is out, like whatever the latest one is out, and just stick it out for 3, 4, like 6 months. Just stick it out for 6 months.
6 months?
Because the issues come out once a month. So just
okay.
Stick with it for 6 issues. You might not understand everything that's happening at first, but as it goes, you'll start to pick up on who's who and stuff like that, and you'll start to just get the hang of it, which is basically what I did. that stuff. I was just like, all right, I'm starting to buy Spider-Man now. And then that's what I did.
What Spider-Man do you have? I'll take it.
Yeah. And that's not the best for everything. Sometimes you need to be like, all right, what is the best Wonder Woman graphic novel? And you read 2 or 3 of those, and you're like, okay, I like these kinds of stories. Let me dive in a little bit deeper that way, It
is one of my regrets in college that I was in classes with a girl who's was really into DC, and she lent me the first 4 volumes of a Wonder Woman by George Perez. Mm-hmm. Does that sound right?
That's the post-crisis.
Okay, helpful to know. And I started reading them, and I really liked them, but I didn't finish them all before the semester ended, and I had to give them back to her. And I've never picked those things back up again. And I think that might have been my senior year, so we were graduating. So yeah, she didn't live around me.
Yeah, that's a really great series. Again, it's older. It's from the late 80s. So it's a little bit of a slower read, but it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is one of the seminal Wonder Woman. Read this one.
My niece got her first comic book this week.
What'd she get?
She's gotten really into My Little Pony.
Nice.
So it's a My Little Pony comic.
There you go.
She's apparently obsessed with it and wants to read it all the time and wants to take it to show and tell at daycare. But because of germs, they don't do show and tell anymore. So she just has to tell.
Yeah.
She just has to describe this to her friends, I guess.
I'm not a My Little Pony fan, but from people that I trust their opinions on comics and stuff have checked them out because they do comic book podcasts and stuff like that, and they're always surprised at just how simple and good they are. I'm just this is actually just a good comic. It's not it's just decent. So good on her for checking them out.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, and do you remember last week when I was talking about Babysitter's Club? Yeah. There have been graphic novel adaptations of the Babysitter's Club books, and I want to get some for her.
There you go.
Whenever we can read together again, I want to try one of those with her.
Yeah. Interesting. But I mention all of that stuff because I wanted to see. You might not have something off the top of your head, and that's fine. If you would like, you can report back next week or something. But do you have a fandom like that where if someone was like, I wanted to get into, or for example, the Dresden Files, right? If I wanted to get into the Dresden Files, where should I start? Is that your example, or is there something else?
No. X-Files.
Okay.
X-Files is something I love, and that's a show a lot of people of our generation kind of remember from when they were kids, and maybe they were too scared by it.
An X-Files with the lights on? Without a lights on? Right?
Or Don's Les Maison. I hope the smoking man's in this one.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have fuzzy memories of it. They were kind of spooked off and they want to come back to it as an adult. This is also a show with, in its original Fox run, 9 seasons.
Right, yeah.
And it had its ongoing mythology. It kind of started ongoing mythology. It had myth arcs where there would be really plot relevant stuff for 2 or 3 episodes at a time, 2 or 3 times a season. But it was mostly one-shots, and it's a lot of different kinds of one-shots to wade through. You have your various types of supernatural problems, of course. You want an alien,
right,
you want a ghost, you want just some sort of a monster, a cryptid. There's all kinds of tones. Some of them are really goofy. The X-Files should be regarded better for how funny it could be when it wanted to be. There's some amazing, funny, weird one-shot episodes of X-Files and really experimental ones.
I kind of remember when we did the Patreon exclusive thing, when we watched some of the X-Files for the review show, there was one scene that was really, really funny. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it was one of those things where they were like making fun of the character and he was standing in the back around just looking like an idiot. And I was like, this is great. Iconic. I love it.
If there's another X-Files fan listening, they know exactly what scene you are describing.
Which I barely even described it, but
no, we know that gets the point across. Like, there's a lot to wade through. So that's my favorite. Like, okay, you want to watch some X-Files? This is the episodes you should watch, because some of them are a little bit duller. There's a couple in there that are just like fairly more run-of-the-mill FBI murder investigation things without a lot of supernatural stuff on there. Or it's like, this person might have psychic knowledge of the murder. It doesn't get like really spooky or more paranormal than that. So there's all kinds of one-shots. So that's my favorite thing to do, is to like write people like navigation lists of these are the X-Files episodes you should watch.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm slowly but surely reading through all of, or not all, but a lot of like the post-crisis DC comics. Mm-hmm. And I've been taking like extensive notes on like, these are important issues. This is the one thing that I like take notes on and stuff, right?
Good.
And yeah, I'm like writing down like short sentences of what the plot is, so if I need to go back in my notes, I know it's like, okay, this is what happened in that one and stuff like that. But then I'm marking important issues, ones you can skip, ones like, okay, this is important for the character but not really for the plot, so if you want to skip it you can, but you know, stuff like that.
Is there a time when post-crisis ends? Or is post-crisis everything from that time until now and forever?
Yeah, you can probably say it ended a lot sooner than what I'm about to say, but the one where it definitely stopped and it ended was with an event called Flashpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know these words.
And they also made an animated movie based off of that one.
Yeah.
And long story short, yeah, it basically ended the DC universe, and then they came out with the New 52, which was their new publishing initiative. They supposedly started from square one. It was a mess, because Batman still continued with his whole history, but not really, and Green Lantern also did, but then also Green Lantern hadn't met Batman in Justice League, but they had in their, it was dumb. It was terrible. It was so bad. And then it turns out it never really ended. Dun dun dun. Comic books.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah, that would be like the definitive like post crisis is done. But that was 2000, like early 2010s. I think it was like 2011 or 2012.
And post.
That's why
the crisis was. What year was this crisis?
86, 87. So it lasted for a good like 25-ish years.
Wow. You're going to learn that many comics?
That's what I mean when I'm like, it probably ended. Like, you could probably say it ended before that and just be like, okay, that's no longer post-crisis now. Like, you could probably go like mid-90s, early to mid-90s, like maybe after the death of Superman, which is like 92, 93-ish. Maybe 94.
And he comes back and he has a mullet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mullet Superman, early 90s. There you go.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It was the hip thing to do. Yeah. But that would be one thing that I like love to just be like, okay, I'm going to talk for 6 hours and explain this all. It's going to be great. Buckle up. One day.
You'll get there.
Good stuff. I guess last but not least, before we get out of here, I did want to mention that Falcon and Winter Soldier was delayed to an undisclosed date.
of course.
Yeah, it was kind of to be expected, but I am bummed out still, nonetheless. This was going to be the first Marvel TV show to air on Disney Plus. Bummer. But yeah. Thoughts on that? Are you still excited for all of these Marvel TV shows and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still keeping up with the news. I'm still excited for everything. I wonder how What If is doing, because with the animation,
that's a little easier to do from home.
Yeah, it might be easier for people to do from home or in like very sparsely populated offices. You know, you probably don't need that many people around for a recording booth scenario. Yeah, that one might end up being moved up in the roster.
Yeah, who knows? We'll have to see. I did also hear rumors. I saw one tweet and I saw no one else mentioning it, so take this for a grain of salt. But reportedly, it sounds like Die Another Day might be delayed yet again. Rumor.
Die Another Day? Film from 2002?
No, they're all the same. It's James Bond and...
They are not.
James Bond dies another week, and...
I gotta tell you, like, No Time to Die has been my light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I stay inside now so I can go see No Time to Die.
The light at the end of the tunnel just keeps moving back, and you're just like, no, it's a mirage.
That's okay with me. I'd rather wait till it's like, yes, let's go to the theater, instead of, should we go to the theater?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what's happening.
I'm trying. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I can't stay inside more than I already have. I can't be extra inside.
I don't know. The way things are going now, we'll see.
Don't do that to me. I'm trying. What else can I try, Kyle?
I don't know. You can try to get other people to stay inside and wear their goddamn mask.
I'm working on it. I've thought about learning how to be a vaccine scientist from home 30 hours a week. If that's possible.
Well,
can I do it in my spare time? Can I do it in my kitchen?
Right. You have a science kit that I can use to mail me and fix this? No. But I think that about wraps us up for this week. Melissa, where can people find you on the internet?
I am on the internet as rarely as I am there on Twitter and Instagram at WilkyWit. That's WILKYWIT.
There you go. And you can find me at Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. If you like our shows here, go follow us on Twitter at the Whatnauts. We do have multiple podcasts and all of that stuff, and you guys can find out more information on our website, thewhatnauts.com. If you want to support us, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can do so for as little as $1 a month. We have exclusive content at our $3 tier. Go check out all of that stuff. This weekend, we're going to be recording our third in a series for Patreon exclusive episodes of the Reactor Core, in which, Melissa, you and I have been reacting to movie trailers from different decades, which has been a lot of fun. So be on the lookout for that. Sometime next month is when we will be releasing that one. Big shout out to Sam, who's been here in the chat with us, hanging out with us. She is one of our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. You too can get a shout out for supporting us at the $5 tier if you would like. Big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, no matter what tier you are at. I think that's about it for housekeeping and stuff like that. We'll be back next week as usual. Let's get out of here. This has been episode 103 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed that one. Let us know down in the comments below when you think of blockbuster. What is the one movie that you think of? Like, what represents blockbuster to you? Which movie or DVD or video game or something? Let us know in the comments below. In the meantime, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here in that corner, and then go watch one of our other videos right down there, because that will help us out a ton. We got plenty of podcasts for you to check out. But until then, we will see you next time. Bye.